In this series, I'm going to build an acoustic guitar. Now this channel is all about building things with basic tools. And do I have literally thousands of dollars worth of tools required to build an acoustic? No. So what I've done is I've ordered on my own, no sponsorship or any of that, a StewMac called Body Built Kit, where they assemble the body for you and pretty much you're on your own for everything else. There's a basic form to the neck, and we'll take a look at all of this in the first video here. And I'm hoping that this will be no more than 2, maybe 3 videos for this series. The longer guitar build series that I did in my playlist, I'm not gonna get into that level of detail on this thing because it is a kit. Do I see this as cheating? No, because I would have not otherwise built an acoustic guitar. So this might be a gateway into spending thousands of dollars in tools and take up acoustic guitar building. I don't think that's gonna happen. I wanna do it, I wanna try it out, see how it goes. And I've checked YouTube, and there are no videos that I could find on this particular kit. It's the newer one, and I got it several months back before the holidays, and have been kind of sitting on it, reluctant, because I know it's a big project to dive into. Don't take it lightly if you decide to do this yourself. I've read through the instruction manual, and there's a lot to it. So it's by no means cheating, in my opinion. And at the end of the project, supposedly, if you do your part, you'll be left with a very, very nice acoustic guitar that competes with, higher end Taylors and Martins and whatnot. I don't know if I should be mentioning name brands, but in any case, this is supposedly the best kit out there, and follow along with this journey, and maybe it'll inspire you to do the same.
So we're going to go ahead and unbox this thing. This is the StewMac Premium Body Built Acoustic Guitar Kit, part number 16630, if you're looking for it. Nice instructions. I'm going to go ahead and blast through this a little bit because I'm getting dizzy because I'm holding the camera by hand, and I know it's probably not so fun, but just want to show you high quality instructions, good illustrations. Got the it's a mahogany back or body with a spruce top, and doesn't seem like there's any veneers in here, no particle board or anything like that. It's all good wood. A couple of chips and dings here and there. I'm not that concerned about it. A little bit of glue drips that I'm gonna have to sand off, but that's to be expected. It is a kit after all. They give a little video, little thumb drive there with the whole library of StewMac build videos, which I thought was a nice touch. What do you got here? The neck itself. Truss rod, there's a little truss rod strip that sticks over the top of it. The name of it eludes me, but it's a little, little strip of pine or something. I've got the nut and the saddle. There's the frets, all pre-cut for you. I contacted StewMac. The nut and the saddle are both bone, so that's good. Got even strings included. Little pick guard. I might replace that pick guard. That's not wonderful. It's just flat black. Nice rosewood pieces. There's a fretboard. It's already slotted with the inlays in there. Again, there's some chips in there. I'm not that happy about that. Like some actual chips in the fretboard itself. Not bad enough to send back or anything, but I could probably fill them with some CA glue and rosewood dust. We'll see how that goes. First up here, I'm going to go ahead and dry fit the neck and just make sure that the truss rod fits, and it does not. So I need to widen the channel a little bit, and I need to square away where the truss rod is accessible in through the body. So it doesn't fit right now. I need to do a little bit of chisel work, a little bit of sandpaper work. It's not terrible. I want it to sit a little bit below the surface. You'll see here, yeah, so it sticks up a little bit. I need to widen this channel just a little bit. It's not enough to use a router on. I don't want to go gouging at this thing with a router, so I'm using a utility knife. And I'm scoring the edges down about maybe a 64th of an inch, maybe a 32nd, fraction of a millimeter. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a chisel to sort of match the score lines that I put in there with the utility knife. It's not bad. Fiddled with it a little bit off camera here, but for the most part, it fit, and it fits a little bit below surface. When this strip is installed, it's a little bit proud of the surface, so I'll plane that down a bit, and I'll show you that coming up. Right now, I'm marking where the nut will go. I'm going to sort of build your own nut slot here by putting the veneer on the headstock. And then when the fretboard is glued on, it'll leave a little channel there. So that has to be just right. I'm going to cut a little V here in the back of this caul that I'm going to put on the back. That's going to give it some nice spread out the pressure, some nice tension when I clamp it together with vices. A little bit of Tite Bond glue, not a lot. I don't want any squeeze out. I don't want it getting into that nut slot channel, and you'll see that here in a little bit. So match it up, pretty much as eyeballing this. Make sure that you're square, otherwise your nut slot is going to be, perpendicular and wind up tapering. So I'll just blast through here real quickly, get these clamps on, and going to let it sit for a few hours. Trim off the excess. Now this little extra piece of veneer, it's about a 1/16 of an inch thick, actually pretty thick. So I'm going to keep that for a project later. Well, a part of this project, but I'll show you later what I'm going to do with that. Going to go ahead and just sand it flush. Now, when I'm drilling out these holes for the tuning keys, the first one is easy, and you want to make sure you have a backing block on there so you don't blow out that rosewood veneer on the front. There's a little bushing that goes in, but it doesn't cover a whole lot. So if you blow that rosewood out, it's going to show. There's 3 drill bit steps here. Follow the instructions, follow the instructions, follow the instructions. I did not. I skipped one of the bits and tried to go up one size, and I gouged it. Took me about 40 minutes off camera to fix that. I should have put it on there on camera because it was a mess up, and I'm honest about that stuff, but I was frustrated. So I just did it off camera. Here's my little super glue and painter's tape trick because I want this neck to be stable. I'm sorry, fretboard to be stable. I'm going to take a 16-inch radius block, sanding block, and I'm going to sand this down, see if I can get rid of some of those dings that are in there. Again, not that happy with that. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, and disappointed. But, I hit it with some, I think 320 and then some 400, 600, and make it nice and shiny. Finish it up with, I think it went up to 1500 grit. Taking my little fret slot gauge here to make sure I've got enough depth to accommodate the tangs. And I'm not using my fret press right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm doing everything per the instructions. So I'm just tapping them in with a hammer and hoping that they sit flush and don't creep back out. So far, so good. At the time that I'm recording this, it's a few days after I installed these frets, and they went in nicely. They didn't chip out. They didn't creep back out. And they're nickel copper frets. Nickel copper? Nickel silver, whatever. They're not stainless steel, put it that way. If you watch my electric guitar build series, I typically use stainless steel frets because I want them to last forever. This was so much easier to work with, my goodness. When it comes time here in a minute to start filing the fret ends down, I mean, they just came off like butter. It was right there. So much easier than stainless steel. I'd like to just start using this nickel, copper, nickel, silver, whatever material going forward, but I don't know. They do wear down in time faster than stainless steel. So anyhow, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a 90-degree filing, and then I do I don't know, I think it's a 30-degree angle bevel on there, and then I'll clean it up and do typical fret work. I go a little bit more into depth on this process on my electric guitar build series, so check that out if you're interested. There's my fret dressing file. It's got a ground flat edge on the bottom so I don't gouge my fretboard up. And I'm just going to run through here, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit, actually. There's no point in dragging this whole process out. But notice I only went to the 14th fret, and that, again, is per StewMac's instructions. I'm going to go from 15 to, I think, 20 on here, 21 later after the fretboard or the neck is installed. So I'm not to that step yet, so it'll be interesting to see when that happens. But they said stop at the 14th fret, so I did. And we're just going to blast through here real quick. I rounded each one of them off, tuck off all the sharp burrs, and give them about a 45-degree bevel. We're going to do some more fret work later on when we start doing a level crown and polish. But this is just initially so I don't cut my hand up while I'm working on this thing. A little bit of sandpaper, just, Then I went ahead and put it on my fret press, just smashed them all in there nicely. Not too hard though, right? In my last build video series I showed you, I crushed some of the rosewood, so I didn't want to do that again. I just want to make sure that these are all seated nicely and evenly, in this little fret press that I went over again in my other build video does a nice job with that. Pretty happy with it. Here's where I've got that strip, and I wish I could recall the name of it. It's just a truss rod strip. Got to make sure that you're dead flat, and I did a little bit of planing with a hand plane. Now I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the glue up. Don't want to do too much glue on here, otherwise squeeze out will ruin your day. Get up into that truss rod channel. Um, Now this neck is a little wider than the fretboard is. I was surprised. And again, rather than using clamps and cauls and all of that, I'm going to go ahead and just use this giant long rubber band that StewMac includes with the kit. The idea is interesting, and I feel like it should totally work, and they wouldn't include it if it didn't. But you take the tension of this rubber band, and I pulled it really tight, all the way around it, and it self-centers. Pretty impressive, actually. I got it started really tight there first, and then worked my way around, pulled the slack out, go between the frets, all the way down to the heel. Then you reverse direction, obviously, at the heel. And one rubber band made it all the way there and back, probably because I stretched it so taut, whatever. So you can do it with one. Then I put a clamp on here just so I had some place to put the rubber band to hold it in place. And I let it sit overnight. I don't want to rush this process at all. Notice there's like a 1/16 of an inch along the edge of additional neck width. So that'll be interesting to see how it shakes out tomorrow. Get that glue out of that nut channel or that nut slot, because that's going to be a problem later on. Next day, pull the rubber band off. Pretty happy with it. Very happy with it, actually. Next up, I've got to trim the neck flush with the fretboard. I don't want to gouge into the fretboard itself. I'm using a spoke shave here, just a cheap one I got from Amazon. Having a heck of a time keeping this neck in the vise, so I'm just going to hold it by hand, shave this thing down, and I can already see how flat that is. I want to make sure I don't gouge into the fretboard itself. I want to stop at the fretboard. And now I've got this sort of 90-degree lip on the back of the neck, so I'm going to need to blend all of this, and I won't go into depth on it in this video, but you should see it that it is part of the process. So I can only get so close to the headstock with that plane, or I'm going to whack the headstock. So there's going to be some manual filing and shaping that I need to do up here. But right now I'm just getting the neck itself flat, flush with the fretboard. And here's that diamond shape. I don't know if they do it with the CNC or how they do it, but it's a little bit, angular, and you want to blend it. So like in my last video series, when I went into more depth with this, I use a variety of tools to get there. I wish I had a file that's a little bit sharper than this one, but not as sharp as a rasp. So this did take a while, and I'm probably going to blast through a lot of it, but it's very fine-tuned handwork that you don't gouge that fretboard and make little wobbles, waves in there, because that'll stand out like a sore thumb. It may not be a problem for playing it, but it'll certainly look goofy. And I don't know what I'm talking about here in the video, but it just take your time, go super slow, do a little bit at a time, kind of see how it's taken form, and keep standing back, walk away from it, come back a little bit later, and it'll tell you what needs to be done to kind of blend. And some of it's up to you, how you want it to look. There's really no rules here. Just don't F that fretboard up. All right. This part here I did want to mention. I'm using a half round file because I want to soften up that transition. But man, you got to be so careful not to hit the flat part of the headstock. See that? How I'm trying to blend it without digging in. I think I stick some tape on here in a minute, but I still got a little bit of wobble in there. It really hard to do. I guess maybe a Dremel would have worked, but actually probably would have just ruined it faster. But see, I get the tape on there, and I'm trying to just smooth out that little seam in there and make it a nice round transition. I found that really challenging. So know ahead of time that you're going to run into this, unless you want it to be that little hard line angle in there. That's fine. I like it to be smooth and round and like kind of flow rather than any hard edges. But this was probably the trickiest thing so far. And right there, say I got to flatten that out a little bit. I went ahead and gouged in there, so it's sort of a round wobble. Not entirely pleased with it. StewMac does give you enough material that you can recover from it, but it's better not to recover from it. Just be careful with it. Do what you got to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and smooth and blend all these sharper lines, and I use a hand plane. I use sandpaper, and then I eventually went to the power sander and just did a final blending with the power sander. Here's the nut slot that I was talking about. You kind of make it with the fretboard and with the headstock veneer. And it's super important not to have any squeeze out from the glue, because it really will make a problem if you've ever installed a nut before. That edge has to be perfectly square and perfectly flat on all sides. It's tricky to do with hand tools. So I have a little bit of sandpaper that I put on a piece of aluminum edge just to flatten the bottom out. There's a little bit of wobble in there, and I think I got it. So they recommend a couple drops of Tite Bond glue. I'm going to go with the recommendations. 3 little tiny dots. Plant it in there. Again, don't put any glue in there until you've got that slot perfect and matched the all of the angles of the nut itself. Make sure that the bass and the treble side strings are squared up and even, and then I'm going to go ahead and clamp it just to for good measure. Easy enough to pop it out later if I need to pop it out, because I only have a tiny bit of glue. This is what I'm coming back to that part of the veneer that I cut off from the headstock veneer. There's a plastic end piece that I'm not too happy with. I want to go ahead and have the rosewood there, and there's enough left over. Don't go cutting it up when you take that headstock veneer excess off. Try to save as much of it as you can, and you can do this, and it'll look cool. I think a lot nicer than that little piece of acrylic. Easier to drill out as well, because I think this is where the strap button is going to go. But just a little bit, stick it on there, clamp it on there, wipe off the squeeze out with a wet paper towel.
Well, I didn't expect it to take this long. There is more to this simple kit than just assembling pieces, that's for sure. StewMac leaves a lot for you to fit and match and customize a little bit. I'm pretty happy with the way the neck is turning out, but we've only gotten as far as the neck today. So I'm going to go ahead and break this up into 2, maybe 3 different videos. In case you're interested in seeing the whole build process, I'll make a small mini series out of it. Not as long as my electric guitar build series, I promise that much. But yeah, there's more to it than I thought for just putting together pieces. So follow along and we'll get this thing done.